This video is about the single mom waited at the beachfront cafe and a rich stranger started a conversation. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The salty breeze ruffled Mia's hair as she sat at the beachfront cafe, nervously tapping her fingers on the faded wooden table. The sun was beginning its descent, casting an orange glow that danced over the waves, creating a picturesque backdrop. But Mia hardly noticed. Her mind was elsewhere, lost in a whirlwind of worries. She hadn't meant to spend her Thursday afternoon here, but a last-minute crisis at the daycare had left her scrambling for a place to wait until closing time. With her son Lucas with his grandmother for the weekend, Mia had found herself alone for the first time in what felt like ages. "Mia, you were allowed to breathe," she muttered to herself, taking a long sip of her lukewarm coffee. The taste was bitter, much like the remnants of her last relationship. She had sworn off dating after David, Lucas' father, had walked out without so much as a backward glance. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of laughter. She glanced up to see a group of young people at the table next to hers, their carefree energy contrasting sharply with her own solemnity. Just then, a man approached the cafe, his presence commanding the attention of the patrons. He was tall, with dark hair tousled just enough to seem intentional, and his tailored linen shirt clung perfectly to his frame. Mia's heart skipped, her breath catching in her throat as he walked toward her. Surely he wasn't coming this way? She quickly diverted her gaze back to her coffee, pretending to be completely absorbed in the patterns of the table. "Excuse me," he said, his voice smooth like silk, rich with an accent she couldn't quite place. "Is this seat taken?" With a swift glance up, she noticed his deep blue eyes sparkling with a hint of mischief. No, it is not," Mia replied, her voice a little too high-pitched for her liking. He chuckled softly as he settled into the chair across from her, an easy smile playing on his lips. "I am Nathan," he introduced himself, extending a hand. "Mia," she replied, shaking his hand briefly, feeling the warmth of his touch linger. "What brings you to this little slice of paradise?" Nathan asked, leaning slightly forward, his curiosity evident. She hesitated, torn between sharing a part of herself and wanting to keep her life private. "Just waiting for a friend," she finally responded, keeping her tone light. "What about you?" "I am on vacation," he said, his eyes never leaving hers. "Just needed to escape the city for a bit, too much noise there." Mia nodded, unsure if he could sense the chaos of her life just beneath the surface. She imagined he had the luxury of leaving his worries behind, unlike her. "Must be nice," she said, trying to keep bitterness out of her voice. "It is," he agreed, then added with a playful glint, "but I suppose it would be better if I had someone to share it with." Mia felt her cheeks flush, a sudden spark igniting between them. "Well, you might meet someone here," she replied, raising an eyebrow. "It is a beachfront cafe, after all." Nathan chuckled again, and Mia found herself relaxing into the moment, the energy between them palpable. "You think so? I might just take you up on that." The banter was easy, the chemistry unmistakable. They spoke about the beach, the art of coffee brewing, and the quirks of small-town life. Nathan's laughter was contagious, and Mia couldn't help but smile more than she had in months. But as the sun dipped lower, a pang of guilt gnawed at her. She was enjoying this too much, she shouldn't be flirting with the stranger. The thought of Lucas brought her back to reality, grounding her fears. "What about you? Any family back home?" she asked, trying to steer the conversation away from the personal. "Just my sister," he said, his tone shifting slightly. "She is in the city, busy taking care of her own life. It is nice to see her, but the city can be a lot sometimes." Mia nodded, sensing the unspoken words woven into his response. Family could be both a blessing and a burden. She had long learned that lesson through her own experiences. "Do you have a big family?" he asked, genuinely curious. She hesitated, her heart constricting. "It's just my son, Lucas," she said softly. "It is just us." His expression softened, and he leaned in, intrigued. "How old is he?" "5, she replied, the warmth of her words reflecting the love she felt for her son. "He is a handful, but he is the best thing that ever happened to me." Nathan smiled, and Mick couldn't help but notice how his gaze lingered a bit longer than necessary, as if he was seeing more than just a single mom struggling to make ends meet. "Sounds like a wonderful little guy," he replied, the sincerity in his voice wrapping around her like a warm blanket. "I can only imagine how much he must adore you." She felt her heart flutter, a strange mixture of pride and vulnerability washing over her. "He is my world," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. The moment stretched, filled with unspoken words and possibilities. But as the sun finally dipped below the horizon, Mia felt the weight of reality crash back in. She was a single mom with responsibilities, while Nathan was a rich, carefree stranger. "I should get going," she said reluctantly, breaking the spell that had enveloped them. "Lucas is with his grandmother, but I need to prepare for his return." "Of course," Nathan said, shifting slightly in his seat as if caught off guard. "But can I at least get your number, just in case you want a break from the routine?" Mia's heart raced, the thrill of possibility battling against her instinct to retreat. What would David think? She pushed the thought aside, realizing that David had no place in her mind anymore. She hesitated, torn between wanting to step out of her comfort zone and the fear of getting hurt again. "I'm sure," she said finally, pulling her phone from her bag and typing in her number. "Perfect," he said, grinning. "I promise I am not a creep." Mia laughed lightly, a sound that felt foreign yet delightful. "I'll hold you to that, Nathan." As she stood to leave, their eyes locked for a moment that felt like an eternity. The air was thick with tension, the kind that hinted at uncharted territories and new beginnings. "Enjoy your vacation, Nathan," she said softly, smiling as she turned to walk away, each step feeling heavier with the weight of what could have been. "Mia," he called after her as she paused, turning back. "Don't be a stranger, okay?" "I won't," she promised, though a small voice inside her doubted whether she could ever reach out. The uncertainty of her heart loomed heavily, a reminder of the walls she had built to keep herself safe. As she walked away from the cafe, the cool leaving air hit her face, refreshing yet filled with the remnants of the encounter. She felt alive in a way she hadn't in years, yet the shadows of doubt lingered. Could she really allow herself to embrace this moment? Would the fear of heartbreak keep her from pursuing happiness? The answers were unclear, but as she looked back one last time, Nathan was watching her, a smile still playing on his lips. And in that moment, May couldn't shake the feeling that perhaps, just perhaps, the winds of change were beginning to blow in her favor. As Mia walked away from the cafe, the feeling of Nathan's gaze lingered like a warm sunbeam on her skin. The night air was cooler, but her heart was racing, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. A part of her felt exhilarated, akin to the thrill of a roller coaster ride, while another part screamed for restraint, urging her to retreat into the safety of her mundane reality. "Mommy!" The joyful shout interrupted her thoughts. It was Lucas, running towards her from the direction of his grandmother's house, his small hands waving in excitement. He had a lighter backpack slung over one shoulder, and his face was flushed with happiness. When their eyes met, everything else faded into the background. "Hey, buddy." Mia knelt down, arms open wide, and Lucas leaped into her embrace, laughter bubbling from his lips. She inhaled his familiar scent, a mix of sunscreen and the vanilla shampoo she used on him, and her heart swelled. "Did you have fun?" "Grandma took me to the park, and we saw a big bird," he chirped, bouncing on his toes, his enthusiasm infectious. For a moment, Mia forgot about Nathan, about her insecurities, just the two of them, mother and son, in their little world. As they walked back home, hand in hand, Lucas chatted about the park, recounting every detail, how the swings were so high and how he almost touched the sky. Mia listened, smiling, but in the back of her mind, Nathan's charming blue eyes kept flashing in her thoughts. Once they settled in, the familiar rhythm of evening routine enveloped them. Lucas washed up for dinner while Mia prepared pasta, her mind divided. She tried focusing on the mundane tasks, boiling water, chopping vegetables, but every clink of the knife against the cutting board reminded her of the connection she felt with Nathan. "Mommy, do you think I'll go to the park again tomorrow?" Lucas's innocent question pulled her back to the present. "Of course, sweetie. We can go together this time. How does that sound?" "Yay." His eyes sparkled with excitement, and for a moment Mia was reminded that despite all her worries, moments like this made it all worthwhile. After dinner, they settled on the couch for their nightly story time. Lucas nestled under her arm, his soft hair tickling her chin as she read aloud. The pages turned slowly, her voice animated, but her mind wandered, thinking about Nathan, the way he leaned forward, the way his eyes danced with mischief. "My?" Lucas's small voice broke through her reverie. "Huh? Are you still thinking about your friend at the beach?" Mia paused, slightly startled. "What makes you say that?" He shrugged, the innocent gesture so sincere. "You have that smile, the one that makes your eyes all sparkly. It happens when you think about happy stuff." She chuckled softly, brushing her fingers through his hair. "It's not just a friend, buddy. It's complicated." "Like a puzzle?" he asked, wide-eyed. Yeah, kind of, she replied, marveling at his ability to simplify her tangled emotions. I like puzzles. They're really fun, Lucas declared and flopped down, grabbing his toy dinosaur. Can I show you how to make a dinosaur puzzle later? Definitely, she said, smiling. We'll have a dino night. As they finished the story, me tucked Lucas into bed, kissing his forehead. She switched off the light, and as she closed the door, she couldn't shake the thought of Nathan. The thought was both thrilling and terrifying. What would it mean to open her heart again, even just a little? Later that night, as Mia sat on the couch with a worn-out book in her lap, she caught herself scrolling through her phone. The temptation to text Nathan loomed like a siren's call. What would she say? Hey, it's Mia, just checking in. It felt too casual, too unguarded. But the more she thought about it, the more she felt a sense of longing. She could message him without any expectations. It was harmless, wasn't it? But then again, what if he didn't respond? Or worse, what if he viewed her as nothing more than a distraction during his vacation? Finally, with a deep breath, she opened a new message. Hey Nathan, it is Mia from the Café. Hope you're enjoying your vacation. Her heart raced as she hit send. Almost instantly, her phone vibrated a reply. Hey, Mia, great to hear from you. The vacation is stunning, just missing some good company. How is Lucas? A smile broke across her face. He remembered her son. It felt nice. She typed back, feeling lighter. He is great. We just had our dino night. He is obsessed with dinosaurs right now. You. Sounds adorable. I am currently pretending to be a tourist, but it is a lot less fun without someone to share it with. Any local recommendations? Mia thought for a moment, her fingers dancing across the screen. Try the taco truck on 5th, it is the best, and the owner makes a killer salsa. You'll thank me later. Consider it done. How about you? Want to join me one evening? I'll buy the tacos. His invitation sent butterflies fluttering in her stomach, both thrilling and terrifying. She hesitated, reading over the message. What if she was simply a temporary distraction? What if, in the end, he went back to his wealthy life, leaving her behind in her small town struggles? But the thought of missing out on this chance, on being seen as someone more than just a single mom, urged her to respond with an adventurous spirit she hadn't felt in years. Sure, I'd love that. Just let me know when. The reply was almost immediate. How about tomorrow at sunset? I'll get the tacos and you bring the sunshine. Mia chuckled, her heart soaring. Deal, just don't forget the salsa. As she set her phone down, she felt the giddiness pulling at her, a flicker of excitement challenging the weight of her worries. Maybe this was the step she needed. Maybe it was time to let someone in, just a little. The next day, as the sun began to dip toward the horizon, Mia felt the cocktail of anticipation and nerves swirling in her stomach. She dressed carefully, opting for a simple sundress that flowed gracefully with her movements. In her heart, she hoped it would convey a hint of confidence, a dash of allure. When she arrived at the beach, Nathan was already there, his tall frame silhouetted against the vibrant sky. He turned at the sound of her footsteps, and their eyes met, a spark igniting between them. Mia, he said, his smile widening. You look incredible. Thank you, she replied, her cheeks warming. You clean up well yourself. He wore casual shorts and a fitted shirt that accentuated his athletic build, and Mia felt her pulse quicken. The air was scented with salt and adventure, and their shared laughter floated across the beach, mingling with the sound of waves crashing behind them. They settled on a cozy blanket Nathan had laid out, and he pulled out the tacos, the aroma making Mia's mouth water. As they dug in, the conversation flowed with ease, weaving between playful banter and deeper topics. Do you always bring food on your outings, or is this a special occasion? She teased, taking a bite of the taco. Only for the intriguing company, he replied, raising an eyebrow, sending a flirtatious challenge her way. Mia felt her half flutter, the playful tension thickening between them. Intriguing, huh? I'll have to remember that. As the sun sank lower, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, their laughter echoed, weaving around them like a protective cocoon. But beneath the surface, Mia felt the tide of emotions rising, an undercurrent of uncertainty tugging at her heart. What do you want to do after this? Nathan asked, his gaze steady, locking onto hers with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. I don't know, maybe just enjoy the sunset, she suggested, her voice slightly wavering. It is beautiful here. But it pales in comparison to this moment, he said, his voice dropping an octave, thick with sincerity. Mia swallowed hard, feeling the weight of his words settle around her. The atmosphere shifted slightly, an electric charge filling the space between them. She could sense he was searching for something deeper, a connection that transcended the surface of their banter. Nathan leaned closer, brushing his shoulder against hers. Mia, can I ask you something? Sure, she replied, her heart racing. Why did you hesitate at first? After we met, I mean, you seemed to... You got it, she finished, her voice small but resolute. I haven't really put myself out there in a long time. His expression softened. I get that. I am not here to pressure you into anything. I just think he paused, collecting his thoughts. There is something special about you. Mia's heart raced, the vulnerability of his admission crashing over her like a wave. I don't want to be a rebound, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The admission hung in the air like a fragile thread, ready to snap. It felt like a damning declaration, but it was the truth, her truth. Nathan's brow furrowed slightly, and he leaned back, taking a moment to process her words. Mia, I want you to know that that's not how I see you. I am not just looking for a fling. His sincerity radiated from him, a warmth that both reassured and unnerved her. Then whilst she asked, a hint of vulnerability creeping into her tone. You're here on vacation, and I am just a single mom trying to navigate life. It all feels too complicated. He sighed, the weight of her words settling in the space between them. Maybe it is complicated, but sometimes the best things happen outside of our comfort zones, and you're more than just a single mom to me, Mia. I see a woman who is strong, caring, and so full of life. Mia felt her cheeks heat up, swept away by his words. The way he looked at her, like she was the only person in the world, ignited a spark deep within. But then a familiar doubt crept in. But what happens when your vacation is over? When you go back to your life, I can just be a momentary escape. You don't have to be, he insisted, his voice firm yet gentle. If we can explore this connection, I do like to see where it goes, but I respect your need for caution. His sincerity made her heart ache with a mixture of hope and fear. Mia gazed out at the horizon, where the sun was slowly melting into the sea, casting a golden path across the water. It is just so hard for me to trust again, she admitted, her voice trembling. The trust is earned, not given, Nathan replied softly. I am not asking for blind faith, I am asking for a chance. Let us take it one step at a time. He reached out, brushing his fingers against her arm, sending a shiver of warmth through her. She looked back at him, feeling a rush of conflicting emotions. The chemistry between them was undeniable, electric, yet her heart was still guarded, locked away from the disappointments of the past. Okay, she said, her voice steadying. One step at a time. A smile broke across Nathan's face, and Mia felt her heartbeat quicken. Then let us make tonight memorable, he said, his tone playful as he stood and extended a hand to her. You have to see the best view on this beach. Curiosity ignited within her as she took his hand, feeling the warmth of his palm envelop hers. Where are we going? She asked, her heart racing in anticipation. Trust me, he said, a mischievous glint in his eye. They walked along the shoreline, the sand cold beneath their feet, leaving behind trails that the waves soon washed away. The world around them faded, consumed by the magic of the moment. As they strolled, the sun dipped lower, casting shadows that danced around them. The tension between them thickened, punctuated by shy glances and playful nudges. What was initially an easy exchange of words began to feel layered with unspoken possibilities. Do you come to the beach often? Nathan asked, breaking the comfortable silence. Not as much as I do like, Mia admitted, her voice filled with a hint of longing. Life gets in the way. Between work and Lucas, there's little time for me. Have you ever thought about taking a little time for yourself? He probed gently. Even a weekend getaway, just to breathe? She paused, contemplating his question. I used to, before Lucas, now it feels selfish to even think about it. I am all he has. The weight of her responsibilities pressed down on her, as it often did. Nathan stopped walking and turned to face her, his expression serious. Mia, you can pour from an empty cup. You deserve happiness too. Lucas would want a happy mom. His words resonated deeply, stirring a sense of longing for something she had neglected for too long. I know you're right, she replied, biting her lip as uncertainty washed over her. But it is hard. I feel like I should always be on duty. It is just I don't want to let him down. Nathan stepped closer, his gaze unwavering. You're not letting him down by taking care of yourself. It is okay to want a life outside being a mom. In fact, it is necessary. Nis swallowed hard, his words igniting a flicker of hope. She hadn't allowed herself to think about that in years. Maybe you're right, she whispered, a mixture of fear and excitement surging through her veins. Let us embrace this moment. Promise me that you'll try to let go, even just for tonight, Nathan urged, his voice soft but filled with conviction. She nodded slowly, captivated by his earnestness. Okay, just tonight. With a grin, Nathan gently took her hand again, leading her to a small hill that overlooked the beach. They climbed together, the anticipation swelling between them. As they reached the top, the sight before them stole Mia's breath, a stunning view of the sunset, vibrant colors streaking across the sky, reflecting against the ocean's waves. Wow, she breathed, taking it all in. It's beautiful. It's just like you, Nathan said, his voice low and filled with admiration. The intensity of his gaze made her heart flutter unexpectedly. You re good at compliments, she teased, though it was clear she was flattered. It's part of the charm, isn't it? Well, I do aim to impress, he replied, a playful smirk forming on his lips. But seriously, you should see yourself through my eyes. There is so much more to you than just a single mom. The sincerity of his words made her chest tighten with both warmth and apprehension. You barely know me, she whispered, her insecurity surfacing. I know enough, he countered, stepping closer, the air between them thickening with palpable tension. You re passionate, loving, and incredibly brave. You don't give yourself enough credit. Mia felt her heart race as he reached up to tuck a loose strand of hair behind her ear, his fingers brushing against her skin. She shivered at the intimate gesture, her body responding in ways she hadn't expected. Nathan, just let me be here, Mia, he urged softly, stitching her eyes for an answer. I am not rushing you, just be here with me in this moment. The vulnerability in his voice tugged at her heartstrings, and for the first time in a long while, she considered letting someone in. Okay, she breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. Nathan's smile widened, and before she could think twice, he leaned in closer, capturing her lips with his in a gentle kiss. It was soft and tentative at first, an exploration of new territories, but it quickly morphed into something deeper, a mingling of longing and unspoken promises. Mia felt herself melt against him, her worries dissolving with each passing second. The kiss ignited a fire within her, something she hadn't felt in years. She wanted to lose herself in this moment, to forget the weight of the world, if only for a little while. When they finally pulled apart, breathless and slightly dazed, Nathan rested his forehead against hers, his expression a mix of joy and uncertainty. Wow, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I didn't mean to, but I couldn't help myself. I didn't want you to stop, she admitted, a smile tugging at her lips. The tension that had lingered between them melted away, replaced by a newfound intimacy that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Good, I don't want to rush anything, but I can't deny how I feel, he said, his voice earnest. I want to see where this goes. Mia's heart raced at the thought, a mix of excitement and lingering hesitation. She had spent so long building walls to protect herself. Was she ready to let them down? One step at a time, right? She reminded him, her voice steady. Exactly, he said, a twinkle of understanding in his eyes. But tonight, let us embrace what is in front of us. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, casting a blanket of twilight over the beach, Mia felt an overwhelming sense of hope, a feeling she hadn't dared to allow herself in years. Perhaps, just perhaps, this was the beginning of something beautiful. The cool breeze whispered through the air as Mia and Nathan stood together, the remnants of their kiss lingering like a sweet echo between them. The twilight sky, painted with hues of indigo and violet, enveloped them in a world that felt untouched by time or responsibility. I can't remember the last time I felt this way, Mia said softly, taking a step back to regain her composure. Her heart fluttered, each beat resonating with the intensity of the moment. Neither can I, Nathan replied, his hands still resting gently on her arms, grounding her amidst the whirlpool of emotions. It is refreshing, isn't it, to let go, even for just a moment? Mia nodded, feeling the warmth of his touch seep into her skin. It is, but it is also a bit terrifying. A shadow of doubt crossed her mind. She couldn't help but wonder if this was all too good to be true. Seeing the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes, Nathan's expression softened. You don't have to be afraid with me, Mia. I am not here to complicate your life. I want to be a part of it, not a distraction. Those words settled like a balm over her anxious heart, yet the fear of rejection gripped her. It is just, what if I can't let go of my past? What if I am still too tied to Lucas and my responsibilities? Everyone has a past, Nathan replied, his tone earnest. What matters is the present and what we choose to do with it. You have the power to create a future, and it can include fun, love, and happiness. Mia felt the weight of his words, a gentle push towards opening her heart. You make it sound so easy, she said, biting her lip. But for me, it is complicated. Nothing worth having comes easy, he countered, brushing his thumb over her knuckles as he interlaced their fingers. I am not rushing you, Mia. I just want to explore this connection and see where it leads. The sincerity in his eyes made her feel seen, appreciated for who she was beyond the title of single mom. She took a deep breath, letting the salty air fill her lungs. Okay, she whispered, let us see where this goes, one step at a time. A smile broke across Nathan's face, lighting up the darkness around them. Then let us start with a walk, shall we? He began to lead her down the sandy hill, their fingers still entwined, the warmth of their connection igniting the cool evening air. As they walked, the sound of waves crashing against the shore provided a soothing soundtrack to their budding romance. So, tell me more about Lucas, Nathan prompted, glancing sideways at her, curiosity dancing in his eyes. Mia felt a rush of pride at the mention of her son. Well, he is energetic and loves dinosaurs. He has been obsessed with them since I bought him his first book. He can name almost all of them now, she said, her heart swelling as she thought of him. Smart kid, Nathan chuckled. Do you think he'd like me? Absolutely, he loves making new friends, she replied, her chest warming with the thought. But he might be a little shy at first. He tends to take his time warming up to new people. I can handle a shy dinosaur lover, Nathan said confidently, flashing a grin that made her heart flutter. Maybe I should bring some dinosaur-themed tacos next time, just to break the ice. Mia laughed, the sound bubbling from her lips like a refreshing wave. I think you read onto something. Lucas would find that hilarious. But seriously, Nathan continued, his tone shifting slightly more serious. Being a parent can be tough, right? Balancing everything you, Lucas, work with this a lot. It is, she admitted, the weight of her responsibilities pressing down on her. Some days are harder than others, and I often feel like I am juggling too much, but Lucas is worth it. I get that. He is your world, Nathan said softly, contrasting the lightness of their earlier conversation. It sounds like you're doing an amazing job. Mia felt a surge of gratitude at his words, his respect deepening the connection between them. Thank you, I try my best, but I often wonder if I am doing enough. More than enough, he assured her, squeezing her hand gently. And you deserve to take some time for yourself, too. You can be everything to everyone without caring for yourself. But I don't want to let Lucas down, she said, the instinctual protectiveness flaring up. What if he feels abandoned or neglected? Nathan stopped walking, turning to face her fully. Mia, letting yourself live doesn't mean you're letting him down. It means you're teaching him that it is okay to care for oneself, to experience joy. That is a gift, not a burden. The sincerity in his voice resonated deep within her, igniting a flicker of hope. You make it sound easy, she replied, a hint of a smile on her lips. Trust me, it is not easy. I've had my fair share of struggles, Nathan said, his voice serious. But I learned that finding happiness doesn't mean you love others less, it just means you love yourself enough to allow it. As Mia absorbed his words, the depth of his understanding wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. I guess I've just been so focused on being a good mom that I forgot about being a person. Don't forget that you both, he replied, the intensity of his gaze unwavering. You Mia and you Lucas' mom, the two can coexist beautifully. Lost in his eyes, Mia felt a mixture of admiration and something deeper, a recognition of the vulnerability in each of them. You're right, she murmured, feeling the knot in her chest begin to loosen. Let us make a pact, then, Nathan suggested, his playful side re-emerging. You let me take you out on more adventures, and I'll bring the tacos. Deal? Mia laughed, feeling lighter. Deal, but you better be ready for a dino history lesson. Bring it on, he said, his smile infectious. I am ready for whatever your world has in store for me. As they continued their stroll, the waves lapping at their feet, Mia felt a sense of peace wash over her. The uncertainty was still there, lurking in the shadows of her mind, but for now she was content to enjoy this moment with Nathan, with the sunset, and with the promise of something more. After a while, they found a spot to sit, the golden hues of sunset reflecting off the water, creating a dreamlike atmosphere. Nathan pulled out his phone, capturing the beauty of the moment. We need a picture to remember this day, he said, glancing over at her. Just be careful not to post it on social media, Mia teased, half joking as she tucked the loose strand of hair behind her ear. Only if you promise not to post it either, he shot back, grinning. Deal, she replied, a warm blush creeping onto her cheeks as he snapped a photo of them together, the backdrop of the sunset framing their smiles. Perfect, he said, showing her the picture. This moment deserves to be remembered. It really does, Mia acknowledged, a spark of affection igniting within her heart as their laughter mingled in the air. But as the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the sand, a flicker of apprehension reared its head again. "What happens when your vacation is over?" she asked, her voice quieter, tinged with vulnerability. Nathan's expression shifted, a seriousness replacing the playful glint in his eyes. "Well, I'll take it one day at a time. I am not planning on disappearing just because I have to go back home." "But your life is in the city, you have responsibilities, and I have Lucas," she said, her heart racing as the reality of the situation sank in. "I can't just become your vacation fling." "Who said anything about flings?" Nathan replied, his tone firm. "I want to give this a real chance, Mia. I see something special between us." "I want that too," she admitted, her heart racing, but doubt still nagged at the edges of her mind. "What if we get too close, and then it's over?" "Life is full of uncertainties. That is part of what makes it beautiful," Nathan said, his eyes holding hers with unwavering sincerity. "I am here for the journey, not just the destination. If we explore this together, we'll figure it out." Mia felt the weight of his words, a mix of hope and fear swelling within her. The thought of embracing the unknown was exhilarating, yet terrifying. "Okay," she said finally, her voice steady. "Let us see where it goes." Nathan's face lit up, relief washing over him. "I promise to make it worth your while," he said, leaning closer once more, the air thick with unspoken possibilities. As the sun finally disappeared, leaving behind a tapestry of stars and moonlight, Mia felt a rush of excitement pulse through her veins. This was a moment she would cherish, a tentative step towards something beautiful, even amidst the fear of what lay ahead. And with that thought lingering in the air, she leaned in,